Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yeah, today is the 16th of November 2021, and the time now is 6:16 a.m. Well, our topic today is what would you consider when choosing a name for yourself or for your children? All right, so before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go. Okay, so today's is about choosing a name. Yeah, and for this, I think one of the most important thing is kind of like the meaning, the connotation of the name. Yeah, for this one, it is important because I think for names, starting from we were born, and then until we grow up, names is something that follow us along the life. So if it carries, let's say, a negative connotation, then I think it more or less creates uh, some negative result to the person. And for the connotation here, it could be in two situations. Let's say the meaning of the word in let's say we are Chinese, and for those Chinese characters that we use as our name, each of the words has its own meaning. And then for this one, yeah, I think at least you don't choose words which is not good. Yeah, so I think this is the first point. And the second situation is like you didn't choose a word which is delivering a negative connotation, but sometimes the words that we choose, um, the pronunciation, and then it sounds like another words, and in that case, also need to be careful. Is if your name sounds like the other words, and the other words is, let's say, not so good, is kind of like create some negative meaning, then I think that should be avoided. Yeah, and then yeah, so it's about the connotation, and also the second I want to talk about is about uh, pronunciation. Yeah, for pronunciation here is not referring to the meaning after it pronounced. It is like whether it is easy to pronounce, to be pronounced, and then whether it is um, not difficult to to read the words. Yeah, for this one, I think if we can do it, just make it easy. Yeah, for some people, we can see that their name, especially for Chinese, they're using some words which is really really uncommon, and then maybe you check a dictionary, you maybe you won't be able to check to look up for the words, and you have to maybe go online and then try to describe the words, and then after that you can find the words. Yeah, so that kind of words, I think also I wouldn't choose either for myself or for my children. Yeah, and then also one more thing is because in Malaysia we are Chinese and we have our own Chinese name, and beside that we will also have an English name, which is like the names on our identity card. So basically, we will use we wouldn't use pinyin uh, of our Chinese name and then use it on our identity card. Uh, uh, we are quite special, I think, in Malaysia. Yeah, in China they just use pinyin and then translate the Chinese character into the alphabets, and then use it on maybe passport, and then some other places which require an English name. So for this one, I think for English name, I would consider if I have got children, and then I would consider to put one more name, which is before the family name, and then for example, we could have an English and a Western name, for example, Brian, for example, Joyce, for example, Tony, for example, yeah, and then to make it like this, I think it is more international, the name, and then we still keep the Chinese name, which is behind, let's say, behind Brian, and then but for people who maybe they are not familiar with the Chinese culture, sometimes they couldn't pronounce the English name of an regular Chinese. Yeah, let's say for me, my family name is Cheong, and then even for some Malay or for some Indian, they actually don't know how to pronounce, and uh, sometimes they pronounce it wrongly. So I think if we have another name which is before this name, then it can be used for people which is not Chinese, and then they know how to pronounce our name, and just make it easy. Yeah. So these are my some of my sharing today.
But you just talk about uh the name the naming for your children. How about
Mm.
yourself?
Yeah, for me, do you mean that I can kind of like change my name, something like that?
Yeah, or maybe you want to give yourself an English name.
Mm. Yep. Actually, for this one, I also found that my name, um, sometimes for English name, it's not so convenient. So basically, I use the initials uh, of my given names, and then I put it in front. Let's say the given name of me is S, and then I mean the initials, just the first alphabet. So it's the SK, and then I put my family name at the last. So it's like SK Chung. So try to make it easy, and then but for the name Chung is still also sometimes a problem because people may not be able to pronounce it.
And just now you mentioned about the meaning of the name
Hmm.
when choosing name for your children, and what do you mean? For example, what is the meaning of your name?
Oh, I just look at the last word of the last character of my names, which is Kai, and then this character, it is something like uh, we have another term which is Kai Xuan, and its meaning, it does mean that it do have that meanings, which is like a win, you get a victory, you win, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is not very important, but what's important is that we won't choose some words which has negative meanings. Yeah.
But how do you know the negative meaning? Because you can
Mm.
always find the opposites of the vocabulary of the meaning of the vocabulary from your name. Is it?
What do you mean the opposite?
Mm, okay. For example, the second uh the second uh words the second word of your name
Mm.
is SHI,
Mm.
and if you want to translate into English, and then I mean translate the meaning. from Chinese to English, it could be like the selfish, right? And yeah, you can choose the it means the same character of the same pinyin can have different. It depends on
Oh,
it you look at it.
yeah, yeah. So that's about the pronunciation part, right? The same words with different words with the same pronunciation, and some of the other words has got negative meanings, right?
And not only the yeah, you may say that this I changed the words. Okay, and how about the last words of your name, which is just now you say K I Kai, and it could be the devil, the meaning of devil, because we got the Kaisa, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can always find the negative meaning of the words.
Yep. Yep. And also one of my experience, uh, one of the case that I met in one of my tuition class is one of my students. Her she was a girl, and her name is one of her name is Sing. That Sing is which one is the uh okay, let me speak in Chinese. 王字旁，然后一个星星的星 ，yeah，
嗯
王三画王在左边
星
，sorry，
is it star?
yeah, star, yeah, and then this word is okay, right? Totally okay, but this girl is not very slim, yeah, and she's a little bit chubby, and then the friends like to make a jokes of her name, like they say she is a gorilla, which is Sing Sing. So although that is not the same word, but if you really want to like make jokes of your friend's name, and you can always find one.
You can always find one.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you. You can always find one.
Yeah.
He's your friend, or to make it.
Yeah, and but I think this is still okay. But what isn't okay is like actually my one of my uncle. Yeah, his name is just forget about the family name and just the given name. Uh, 建成. Yeah, 健康的健，成功的成.
Okay.
And this is a good name, I think. Yeah, this is a good name. Totally not problem. Not a problem. And then it sounds good. But actually, her friends, because he is a businessman, and actually, when he was young, he was quite successful, and he wasn't rich when he was young, but after that, he made his business quite well, and he earned a lot of money. And because of that, and maybe his friends, was jealous. Yeah, and then everybody call his name like 建成 or 奸臣. Yeah, it's like the cunning, 奸诈的奸. Yeah, so call his name like that. So so I think again we can always find ways to make jokes of somebody for his name. And then you know what my uncle do? My uncle changed his name. Yeah, my uncle just take out the second words of his name. Yeah, so after that, his name just got two character. One of the name is the family name, and then the given name is just Chen. Yeah, so two words only.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see he was affected by this um, affected by his name, and he has to do something and then change his name.
Yeah, and for myself, I actually have an English name, which is Eric, and this Eric is not given by my parents. Is I choose for myself, and I choose this name when I was secondary school, and this is quite funny because uh, at that time we have Facebook, yeah, and most of my friends are on Facebook, and but it's but we are not very active on that, and so I remember this is a weekend, Sunday, and then after I choose my English name, and then I changed my Facebook name. Yeah, it's Eric Lee, and then the next day, which is the Monday, I went to the school, and people are asking me, yeah, wow, you changed your name. Oh, you got an English name. Yeah. And then
Yep.
uh uh but we don't know. But we don't know you actually have an English name. I say I also don't know. Yeah, because I because this yeah, this is the name I give myself yesterday. Yeah. So and why I choose Eric? The first is easy to remember, easy to call, and then the second uh I look I look at the meaning of the name. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like Eric, got like, for example, like John, got like Brian, and I look at the meaning, and uh for Eric, I okay, actually I totally forget the meaning, and I think it got a lot of positive. For example, leadership, for example, like confidence, and for example, like uh, maybe like extrovert, yeah, that, and then yeah, so I just choose the characters I want, the personality I want, and I choose the name. Yeah, so
Yep.
I found but I already used this name for very long time, so I don't think I would change in future. And
Yep.
also for the name that my parents for the name that given by my parents, the Chinese, and I also don't think I would change. I would change the
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
name
I heard
my
that your name, the last given name is something like follow your family pedigree, right? There is a sequence or order,
actually
right?
okay, the second characters, which is for my family, the men, for my family, all the male will use the same characters.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
special.
and then the last and then the last words is follow the family tree, or follow the which is called the genealogy. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So it's follow the family tree.
Yeah, it is quite good, right? You will find that um, you are more connected to your family tree, right?
Mm,
Were you?
yeah, yeah. No.
Hmm. Oh.
And this is for myself, and for my children. I'm thinking mm, maybe I say maybe we can let them choose their name by their own when they get older. Mm, yeah. Uh, Especially for us, because although our English name couldn't change, but we can always change our Chinese name, right? Because it didn't write into the official documentations.
Yeah.
So change our Chinese name, and it doesn't affect our identity,
Hmm.
and we don't need to go to like government departments and to do the paperwork, to do to process, yeah, it wastes
Hmm.
time, money. Yeah, so I think we are special. And in Singapore, they can choose, for Chinese, they can choose whether they want to put their Chinese name on their identity card.
Oh.
Yeah. So they can choose uh, uh, whether they want to put or not. And if they don't
Mm.
choose one, so their identity card were very similar to Malaysian identity cards.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but they choose. So that means when they want to change their name, and then they need to went to the government department to change their identity card.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So this is my sharing.
Mm. Yeah. So how about because you say during your your school age and when you were on Facebook and you give yourself an English name, so do you find any difference between and before and after you got that name?
I only realized the difference after few years. Yeah,
Mm.
because people ask my name. For example,
Yeah.
when I meet new friends, and
Yeah.
I normally initially I will say my Chinese name,
Mm.
and people will require me to repeat a few times, so
Mm.
they can they can like really pronounce it correctly. Mm.
Yeah.
And after some time, I learned that, and I just tell them, I just tell them I'm Eric. Yeah. So it will be much more easy.
Mm. Yeah. So when introducing yourself to people, right? Yeah,
Mm.
people can easily remember your name, and also they won't find it difficult to pronounce.
Yes.
Mm. Yep. Yeah, and then also I find many Chinese they have faced this problem, and uh after they introduce themselves maybe to not to Chinese, to another race, yeah, to peoples from another races, and sometimes people ask them to repeat their names a few times, and also many times people forgot his name, yeah, because it is something like no linking to their own to other language, so they couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Mm. Yep. So I think also that's all for my sharing today.
Yeah. What do you think? Uh,
Mm.
the uh, letting your child to have their own name. I mean, letting your child to choose their own name.
Um. Yeah, but when they grow up, yeah, and I think um if I want to let them choose their own name, I think maybe uh like after 12, yeah, something like that, after 12 years old. Before that, yeah, actually I think it actually doesn't matter, because for Chinese name we can choose as many times as we like, right? I've got one friend, uh he actually changed his name 3 or 4 times, yeah, since I I met him in primary school, and in primary school he already changed 2 times. Yeah, and after he went to secondary school, and I got a time, I met him, and he said, yeah, actually he changed his name, and most recently he changed it again. So so I think maybe yeah, there's no problem to let my child to choose a name that he like, the Chinese name, and then yeah, I'm also trying to um, ask him maybe to find a dictionary, and then to see the words, and then yeah, that could be interesting.
Mm. Uh, was your friends change his name in primary school? Is it just change the Chinese or change also the English name?
Yeah, just the Chinese name, Yeah,
but
previously
but
it is like, yeah.
is there much difference?
Okay, firstly is Zhongyu, and then become Hongyu, and then and after that become Yaoyu. Yeah, and the last one I forgot the fourth one. Yeah, so I think the third character is the same or in same pronunciation, but he changed the second one.
But how about his English name?
Yeah, still the original one, Chungye, Chungyi.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't change. If you want to do that, we have to go to do some take some legal process, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But will you do that if your child want to change also his English name?
Oh, um, yeah, I don't know the process of that of the I don't know the legal process, whether it is convenient, and also whether it has got some limitation. Let's say you can only change let's say every how many years or how many times in your life. And yeah, if you want to change, I think that also depends on him. This is his name.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think letting your child to choose their name is also have one of the benefit, which is let them do the decision for
Mm.
themselves. And you have to tell them this is there's only one time you can change your name. So please think carefully.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you change, you cannot change another. You have only
Mm.
one thing like that. Yeah, and yeah, so uh, uh, maybe after they decided their name, you don't you don't you don't change immediately. You need to wait for 6 months, wait for 12 months, and then ask tell ask them tell your new name to your to their friends,
Mm.
and then see what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and maybe after some months they'll want to change again.
Mm. Yeah, this
Mm.
is a good idea.
Yeah, after a quite long time, yeah, even though your legal document is still the old name, but when when all the people, when all your friends already familiar and pronounce you the new name, and then you can go through the legal process.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Sometimes people really change their Chinese name, which is totally different with the English name. One of my student is like this because we've got online classes, and then he has to put a name, right? For, let's say, if we are using Zoom, we are using Google Meet, and then so one day I found that I don't have this student, and then after I asked who is this, and at the first time, and then my students say, oh, this is me, because his Chinese name and English name is totally different.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, but if you want to change your English name, better do maybe before 12. Because mm, yeah, because uh first you may open a bank account and you may do a lot of things. You may interact with a centralized organization. So
Mm.
yeah, so after you change your name, you have to do a lot of things. For example, insurance. For example, bank. And maybe after, yeah, let's say for example, if you change your name after 25, yeah, how about your name on your certificate, on your
Mm.
living certificate, on your degree certificate?
Yep.
Will be a problem.
Yep.
So maybe before 12, the primary school living school exam certificates, and it will be a good idea.
Yeah. 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 And yeah, just feel like quite interesting for Chinese because we have our own Chinese name, and then we have an English name which is to be put on the identity card. So yeah, I'm just curious whether the other races, people from the other races, uh, will also be like this. And for example, an Indian, do they have their Indian name and then they have one which is English name to be put on identity card?
Mm, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe next time if I have got some Indian friend, I would ask them. Yeah.
But but if you look at yeah, sorry, I mean, first I'm not sure whether. Okay, the first thing is they can always did that, okay, because this is their name, and they just need to their parents just need to uh, maybe give an English name when they birth to register on legal document. So this is the very first time. So I think you can do that because it's your name. Yeah, and government department is not using your name to recognize you. They're using the identity card number, the NRIC number to remember you, know you. Yeah, and so you can always do that, and you can change. So this is the first thing. But not many people did that. And if you look at many Indians, they didn't have an English name. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And one more thing, which is I also feel curious. For us Chinese, the family name, we can see that even there is no regulation for this, right? But almost all of us will put our family name. Even for some Chinese, they live, let's say, not in the mainland China, uh, not in Taiwan, not in Hong Kong. Maybe they live in the Western country. They were born there, and they still keep the family name. And also for countries like Malaysia, Singapore, yeah, even though some of them don't have a Chinese given name, they just put the name from the Western culture, but they still keep the family name. Yeah, this is what I feel quite interesting.
Not uncommon, I would say, because in Western country for Caucasians, they also have their family name. Yeah.
Yeah, but in that case, that will be in the same language. But for Chinese, when we talk about English name and then we translate our Chinese name into uh, Chinese character into English, so I think actually if many of them they don't have a given English name. I mean, let's say for this uh, for one guy, which is maybe his his family name is, let's say, is Chan, and then maybe he has got the given name of Brian. So on the identity card, his name is like Brian Chan, and so you can see that he didn't put the given name of Chinese, right? This is totally uh, a name from the Western culture, Brian, and then but somehow they still keep the family name. Yep, and then it seems like nobody change it. People just follow and follow. Yeah, and sometimes after years we will kind of like not follow some cultures, not follow some traditions. But for names here, I found that there's so many Chinese in the world, and almost all of us use back the family name. Yeah.
How about with for Caucasians? You means actually I'm not really sure what you are trying to say. You means we got the because we follow our family name is Chinese words, and then we still include the translated
Yeah.
given names in the legal document, is it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I believe that in Singapore, um, not having a Chinese given name on legal document is quite common, right? Just like just now, Brian Chan, maybe Jessica Tan, something like that, right? That their
Yeah,
legal name.
I'm not sure, but I think most of the people will okay. I miss from my experience, most of people will put their Chinese name on the identity cards. But I don't know the young. I don't know the young people. Yeah, because I'm accountant, I can foresee. I miss I can I can oversize my staff, my company staff, NRIC. Yeah, so I would say all of them. Yeah, all of them put their Chinese name on the identity card, but they are not young people. Maybe nowadays more and more people would choose not to put their Chinese name on the identity cards. I'm not sure. This is something that I'm sure. Yeah, but since the first identity cards is made when the young people are very young, and normally the decision is made by their parents, and see their parents put the Chinese name on their identity card, so they will also put that their child's Chinese name on their child's identity card. So I think if you want to talk about probability, uh I would say around between 80% to 90%. Uh, People when choosing whether put their name or whether not put their name. I mean, the whole population, I would say, maybe more than 85% of the Singapore population will put their Chinese name on the identity cards.
Yeah. Yeah. This is something we will like follow, right?
Yeah, because I mean, although young people they can choose to remove, but when they make the decisions, when the identity cards being made, is their parents make the decision for themselves, and after they're born out, and then after they grow up, and then they have no incentive to change the identity cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just now you mentioned about the Chinese given name and the translator's English given name on legal document. I still not really understand what is your point. Does it mean that will Chinese choose not to put the Chinese given name and include the translated Chinese given name into their identity card?
Yeah, something like that. They do have a Chinese name in Chinese, but when talk about their legal name, and some of them actually didn't put the let's say the pinyin translated names on legal document on their identity card. They just put a given name from the Western culture, and then together with their family name. Yeah, just like for example, your name. Yeah, it could be like Eric Lee. Yeah, this is just your whole name on your identity card. They actually have given up their Chinese given name in legal in the legal entity, but they still keep the family name.
Yeah. So, I still don't know what you want to say.
Yeah, because I feel like this is something like a culture that people will follow, and people also treat their family name very important. And even we don't have a strict rule to like to follow the name, and then people will still do it, because this is for Chinese name, Chinese character, there totally no problem, because this is our Chinese name, and automatically we will use the family name. But for English name, some people will like to make their name more easy to pronounce, and maybe they'll give up the Chinese translated given name, and then but they still have the family name. Yeah. So this is the thing I would like to say.
But if you have the opportunity, if you can do that, you're allowed to do that. Will you put off your family name?
You mean will I give up my family name? Is it? Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I actually treat this very important. Yeah, I think in no circumstances I will give up my family name.
Yeah. So what is the benefit of giving up your family name?
Okay, let's say if you were born in another country, which there maybe they use English more, and in that case, if you have got an English name, and maybe it is like to join the local culture, to blend yourself into their culture.
Then when people ask you what is your given name, and what will you answer?
Given name, given
Yeah,
name.
your family name. What will
Oh,
you answer?
family name, and yeah, in that case, um, it's actually like also given, not only give up their family name, but also give up the culture. I think for people who do that.
No, I mean, in let's say you are in Western, we are in you are in Western country,
Mm.
and then yeah, if you choose to give up your family name, and
Oh yeah,
give you
and
give new one, and when people ask you what is your family name, and what will you answer?
yeah, just the one that on my identity card, which is a name from the Western culture.
Yeah, and who registered your name on the identity card?
Um,
It's your parents, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and do you think your parents have the incentive to remove the family?
Yeah. The first how to say, the first people have to take the move, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but
If
if the first people do that, and then maybe the next generation will follow. Yeah, but
I
the first person is difficult to do.
yeah, maybe a Chinese girl marriage with a marriage with a the Western guys, and uh so he will use the Western guy's family name. Yeah, but for parents uh, uh we don't remove the family name of our children. Yeah, I will say this.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, what I want to say is no point to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else want to add in?
No. Yeah.
Okay, that's all for our today's conversations. How did you feel? Did you enjoy the conversation? Please tell us what you think about our conversation. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocal mistake to make, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like, subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.